It is time for a new snapshot, 20W17A. And I'll just say right off the bat that this is a much more technical snapshot than we have had in the past. We're not seeing crazy world generation, things to go explore, or new mobs. We're seeing changes to commands and a whole bunch of back-end technical stuff, world generation sort of things. And so does that mean that we're getting closer to the end? Does that mean that possibly the update is getting less and less crazy features and we're gonna get the actual release soon? I don't know. I'm just speculating, and I sure hope that it does mean that. So here we are inside of Minecraft, and the first thing I want to show off is some new stuff whenever you are creating a new world. Small changes if you don't already have a world, and I have like so many worlds, but if you didn't have a world in your single player, it would go directly to the create world screen, which makes a lot of sense. If you don't have one, just go straight there. Why do you need to see a big old thing without anything in the thing? For those of you who are used to making new worlds like me, you'll notice that this layout is a little bit different. We have a new game rules button. This is very similar to Bedrock. On the Bedrock version, whenever you create a new world, you actually have options like to set it to always day, to stop the weather cycle. And so this is basically that, but in Java edition. I am super excited about that because all the time, the moment that I create a world, I go in, I might want to disable a few things like raids. Like why do we need raids? Spawn phantoms, turn that off. Mobs, turn that off. Oh my God, world options, each one, this needs to be at the top of the list because advanced in-game time. This is weird that they're kind of weirdly named. It should just say daylight cycle. I don't know, maybe not. But there you go. Time, fire tick, weather, turn all that stuff off. Random tick speed, you can change that right there. That's amazing. I mean, everything is in here. Like send command, block feedback. You got that in there. So this is really, really, really nice for players who, I mean, I guess it's really nice for everybody, but for me specifically, I'm so glad that the first thing after I generate a world is not to just run a ton of game rule commands so that I can get the world how I like it. Another thing you'll notice that is a change is that difficulty is right here on the create world screen. So if you want to make a peaceful world right from the beginning, you can do it right here easily. I've switched to an older snapshot, the just 16A instead of 17A. This is what the smithing table UI screen looks like right now. And this is what the new upgraded smithing table user interface looks like. So just a few tweaks kind of to give you the impression that the netherite ingot goes there, maybe some type of armor goes there because there's no like outline, but then you'll get an output. It also has that nice hammer. Looks good. Another thing you'll notice that is a change is that difficulty is right here on the create world screen. So if you want to make a peaceful world right from the beginning, you can do it right here easily. Ruined portals will now spawn a lot less frequently. And this one does it. Is this a portal on the ground? What is this? This is weird. Okay, well, there you go. So these will not be as frequent. They were a little bit all over the place, and they happen quite a lot. So it makes sense that they do this a lot, especially like with bees. There were so many bees at the beginning. Now there's a lot fewer bees. They kind of do it just for testing. So now there are a lot less ruined portal spawns in your world. All of the soul things, soul fire torches, soul fire lanterns, and soul fire campfires and whatnot, those have been renamed just to soul torch, soul lantern, and soul campfire. I think it was always named soul campfire, but they've removed the soul fire from the name, so it's just a soul version of that thing, which just makes a lot of sense. Bastion remnants have changed a bit. So these now have a different loot table that takes care of what is going to be inside of the chests whenever you loot a chest. So here we got some chests right here. I've been looking for them, and this removes the netherite from them. And I know there's also some treasure areas maybe I should go search for. It looks like this sad Bastion remnant doesn't have a treasure room, but just believe me when I say that the netherite tools and weapons, those have all been removed and basically replaced with diamond. So you don't have these crazy OP weapons inside of the bastions anymore. But using this new command, which is way too long for my chat, so I have to put it in a command block, you can see that I'm using color selectors that are the hex values of color. So this could be really any color at all. So when we power this with redstone, you can see that the chat is very, very, very different. Also, we were able to use a different font. So OMG Craft and OMG Chad are using the font uniform, which is now added into the game. So you can have something that has crazy color in the text and something that has different types of fonts. And of course you could add your own fonts, most likely with data packs and or resource packs. And then you could make the chat look super crazy. A lot of people in the community are freaking out because you can now have brown text, which I think is hilarious because apparently you couldn't have brown text before. It's news to me. I have figured it out. I now know how to use fonts. And here's just an example. Boop. There you go. Now OMG Chat is in Comic Sans. Hooray. So this uses a resource pack in order to point to, you can even use TTF fonts, which is a very popular file standard for fonts. So I have Comic Sans in here. I also have Roboto. Let's actually see if this works. Ah, it didn't work. Darn it. Let's just go back to enjoying Comic Sans here because oh yeah, so it's not simple, but it can be done. And now you could always add fonts with resource packs. That's not new, but being able to change it in line in the text that you're having, that is new. And having also obviously all the colors like we mentioned, that is also new. In order to show off all of the colors that can now be used in chat, there is a data pack. This was made by Nitro. So if I just reload it because I have it already started, you can see it at the top of the screen. It'll sort of go through this hue shift of all of the different colors that you can use. And obviously this is a rainbow of colors. I mean, it's like, it looks like thousands of colors, maybe hundreds of colors, millions of colors. No, not millions of colors, but a ton of different things that you can use, way, way, way expanded upon what we were previously able to use inside of Minecraft chat. So this is a gigantic change, and once again thanks Nitro for creating this data pack so we could check this out. There is a new attribute command which I'm very excited about. Before, really the only way to change someone's attributes was to give them an item, and now we can do that with commands, and so they stay, which is great. So you can see a few of these attributes right here. Let's just play around with max health, right? So let's just get what is the max health of me. It is currently set to 20. Let me just switch into survival mode so we can actually play around with these. So now let's say the base, let's set that to say 40. There we go. So now I have more max health, and I can do that with command lines instead of with items, which is you can see all of the various different things: armor, toughness, attack damage, attack knockback, attack speed, flight speed, follow range, knockback resistance, luck, health, movement speed, jump, strength, and zombie spawn. This is just for zombies, so you could change how zombies spawn reinforcements. I love how this is all set up because you also saw in a little bit of this that not only can you get, but you can also add like a modifier into this, so you can do some really, really cool stuff with attributes, which I really, really like. So the way that Minecraft renders entities has changed just a bit. So you can see as I move across this line of villagers that I've set up, and it doesn't last super long, but lasts long enough to get the point across. You can see at the end of the line, villagers will pop in, and I'm gonna just go ahead and take my FOV and zoom it way forward so that you can see those villagers. They sort of pop in and pop out as we are moving down this line. Over here in options, video settings, and at the very, very bottom, you have an entity distance just sort of slider here now. And so if I set that all the way down to 50%, we hit done, and go back to the game, you'll see that we can actually see less villagers. So I'm going to stand right next to this villager, look down the line, and put my crosshairs right on the last villager that I see. And then we're going to go in here. We're going to change our video settings so that we have back to 100, hit done, and nothing's changed. A little bit has changed, actually. It popped in there. I've noticed that this has a better, you can tell it a lot better if your render distance is set a lot lower. So let's go back in here, change our video settings. And I'm not sure if this is just something that's like, I feel like it's a lot easier to tell, but now we can see that we can really only count 11 villagers right here. So I'm gonna, once again, put my crosshairs right on the last villager, go in here, change my video settings and set it back to 100, hit done, give it a moment to sort of update. Maybe I have to move a bit. There we go. Once I move, there it goes. So you can see the big difference there between 50 and 100% of entity render distance. And if I set this up to like 500%, done. And obviously we've noticed, okay, yeah, it doesn't do anything at 500%. I think that's because I have my chunks loading so small. Go up here, that's chunks. All the chunks. I want to render all of the chunks all at once. Do we have more entities? Doesn't look like it. It looks like this is like the same amount as before. So maybe this needs some tweaking, or maybe I'm not understanding this correctly, but you do have that slider. It does do something. So for some players, I assume that have really bad computers, entity rendering decreased would help them out. And there you have it. Those are really the big changes for Minecraft 20W17A. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Of course, they also got to a whole bunch of bug fixes and things like that, and some other small stuff. So that's not absolutely everything, but it is most of it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe for future videos, tips, tricks, tutorials, and spotlights here on OMG Craft. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.